Yep, and we are live. Welcome everyone to the fourth episode of the How Much Do You Really Need series. This is entitled How Much Education Do You Really Need? So while we are waiting, let's wait for a couple of minutes so that others can jump in the call before we actually start. So while we waiting, why don't you tell us where you are watching from and we'll try to give you a shout out. So we'll start in like 2-3 minutes. So I have here my good friend Stephen and Mai Co. And yeah, say hi to them, guys.
Hi
Hello.
guys. Hi.
Let me see. Okay, I'm just sharing the broadcast to my page and to my group. Okay, so we'll start in 1 minute. Can you still hear me, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we clear?
Yeah, you are clear and the picture and the sound is okay, really okay. Yeah. I think you're still there, right?
Yes.
No, you're not moving. I thought nag-freeze your screen. Okay, so yeah, so we're ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so good morning Canada, magandang gabi Pilipinas. Welcome everyone to the fourth episode of the How Much Do You Really Need series. I would like to thank you all for setting aside the time to attend this show. So for those who will be watching this webinar through the replay, I would like to welcome you as well. A little bit of a background about this show. I thought about this series because I myself have been wondering how much do I really need in the different aspects of my life, such as financial, love, relationship, diet, career, and so on. So hopefully this series can help us measure if it's even possible how much we need because only us can define it. And I'm hoping with the help of our expert guests, it'll be a lot more easier for us to do it. So for today's episode, this is entitled How Much Education Do You Really Need? So before we start, is everyone excited about this? Type in yes in the comments box below. Yeah, and yes, my. Yeah, my Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to introduce myself. So, I'm Kulasangeles. It's Angeles now because I'm here in Canada now. And I'm a certified professional coach and an energy leadership index master practitioner. And I'm a millennial career and life coach. I am the host of Millennials Moving Forward and Up. So, I mainly work with millennials who are passive life strivers being held back by fear, procrastination, insecurities, and timidity from living the life that they really want. If you want to learn more about what I do and the services that I offer, kindly visit my website. It's moveforwardandup.com. So outside coaching, I'm married and now we'll be having 2 kids pretty soon, and which my eldest will be going to school this September. So, yeah, I'm becoming a real parent now, because you become a parent when your kids are going to school now. And yeah, so I love music and I'm a drummer. I'm still in the IT field working as an IT consultant for one of the major banks here in Canada. We just migrated here 2 years ago. And if you are asking me how old I am, yes, I'm still a millennial. Okay, so enough about me. Let's talk about our guests. So we have our guests, Stephen and Mai Co. This power couple, again, like what I've said before, is two of the most smartest, intelligent people that I know. So I met Stephen when we were doing our master's in technology management in the University of the Philippines. This guy introduced me to Who Garden and has been my favorite beer since then. I haven't tasted Nipa's craft beer. So if you are a beer lover, definitely reach out to Stephen and taste whatever he has. I'll be definitely tasting it when I go back to the Philippines. Then, of course, I met Mai through Stephen, which was then who was then her girlfriend, and who was also, I think, Mai, you were also taking your masters when we were taking our masters in UP, right? So Stephen and Mai, why don't you introduce yourselves? Tell us what you are doing and why you are doing it.
Who goes first? Okay. My name is Stephen Co. I am the founder and CEO of Nipa Brew. It's a it's a microbrewery based in Makati. We produce local craft beers. Like Kulas said, we were taking our masters when I met him in the Philippines, maybe like 5 years ago. And then I went on to do my master's in the University of Cambridge with the degree Bioscience Enterprise. So it's a combination of biotech and business. Yeah, and then I came back to the Philippines right after and put up my small business, which is the microbrewery, which is like a very practical application of science.
Nice.
So that's what I'm doing now. We are based in Makati. Maya and I, we're newly married. So we're like 5 months married now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a parent yet, like for us.
Unfortunately.
Soon.
So,
Yes.
Hello, I'm Mai Co. Co now. I was previously Valera. I met Stephen in university. So we went to Ateneo together. He took up biology. I was taking up economics. We were both presidents of our home organizations, and that's kind of how we met. And then we both, from the very beginning, we both wanted to take further studies, not just in the Philippines, but also abroad. So when Stephen was taking up his master's in technology management in UP, I was at the same time studying for my master's in development economics. And then we both applied for a Chevening scholarship, and we were able to take another set of masters in the UK. I took up public health and health economics at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Today, I work as a monitoring and evaluation analyst at an international development organization. Why do I do what I do? Because it's really my passion. So generating evidence so that you can make sure that projects, especially development projects, are run in the most efficient and effective way, making sure that they're sustainable so that the results that you achieve can be enjoyed by the beneficiaries or the communities that you help. So that is the kind of the line of work that I'm in right now. Yeah, so you kind of see two different worlds, and I think it's a good thing because it balances us.
Yeah.
Stephen is in the business sector, private sector. I'm in the development sector. So it's a good way to share ideas whenever we have dinner, sharing experiences at work, which are very diverse, but at the same time, very exciting. Because I even if I'm a development practitioner, I get to know a little bit about business and vice versa. So there.
Yeah, I guess your dinners are always exciting, right? You always have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Mai and Pen, for sharing what you do and why you are doing it. Okay, so I would like to welcome our viewers. So hi, Ivy. Ivy was one of my students when I was teaching, in Makati. Yeah, so Ivy is here. Okay, so as you all know, so let's start, okay? So as you all know by now, I have not taken my studies in the university seriously, resulting to failed grades and a semester extended. Yeah, and I'm not sure if everyone knows it, but yeah, it's out there now. So I always thought that I'm smart, only to find out that there are 3 types of smart people. One is inborn smart, second is hardworking smart, and third is smart, which is the smartest is inborn and hardworking smart, right? Which is the combination of type 1 and type 2. So after 2, so I'm the second type probably itself, I'm declaring that I'm the second type, hardworking, smart, but hard work was absent during my early years in the university, and the rest is history, right? So after 2 years of contemplating whether to redeem myself from the disgrace of my failing grades and an extended semester, I took the exam, did the interview, and got accepted, then studied the Master's in Technology Management in the University of the Philippines. So my main reasons why I took further education is that, first and foremost, I want to redeem myself, mainly to get my confidence back. And I want promotion. Having that entry in my resume, I took this master's and everything, will surely boost my marketability. And therefore, I can ask for, a higher rate. Right? So I'm curious, Pen and Mai, I consider you guys type 3 smart, meaning inborn and hardworking smart, right? And now that you've finished 2 masters, not sure if you will be taking more, right? But do you ask yourselves, how much education do I really need? The floor is yours, Pen and Mai.
Okay, so earlier we were with some friends and then we were discussing the topic with them, hoping to get more insights. And we all agreed that to answer the question, how much education do you need, you have to define what education is first. So there are different kinds of education or learning, actually, broadly. You don't have to go to school to learn. There are other opportunities to learn as well. Traveling, for instance, I would consider learning. You get to learn about different cultures, about dealing with different kinds of people, about history, among other things. Working, I think, would also be classified as learning. When you gain experiences through work, you learn that way as well. But I guess what we can talk about now is formal education, right? So learning through a formal structure or through school. So yeah, Stephen, I think that leads to your talking point.
Well, I think that's related to what Kulas said. No, what he wanted to get out of the education. It could be personal or social, self-confidence, and for the resume or career-wise. I think you have to have the end in mind. Education is not, as Mai said, there's many forms of education, and per se, for me, education is something that is intentional. It's not like it's not a learning that you just pick up or it. For me, learning and education are both intentional and requires time and effort. When in my case, as an entrepreneur, whenever something is required my time and effort, I make sure that it is relevant to where I want to go, relevant to my dreams, to my passions. So I think that's also how you treat education and how much you want from education, or how much education you want. You have the end in mind.
Yeah. So I guess what was our end in mind? The reason why we took up 2 master's degrees, I guess, personally for me, I work in a field that is very specialized. So before working for an international development organization, I was doing research and consultancy for a very specific field of economics, which is impact evaluation for health programs. And I found that when I was starting out, there weren't a lot of academics who were working in that area in the Philippines. And I thought it was an area where I can gain, I guess, more experience and therefore be considered an expert eventually. So I did for formal education because it's quite a technical field. And for a technical field, you would need structure for that. So you have to go through classes, you have to do several researches, do a dissertation. And the motivation for me, aside from just learning the technicalities, I guess, is also through grad school, you get to meet and expand your network. So you meet a lot of people who are like-minded, who you can exchange thoughts with. I find eventually, now that I'm working in development, that most of the classmates I had ended up being my colleagues. Most of the teachers I had also ended up being consultants or mentors. And I guess that's one of the benefits of going to further studies. You get to expand your network and you get that mentorship for that particular field. And then after UP, I realized, I want to be more specific about my area of study. And luckily, there's a university in the UK that was offering what I was looking for. I wanted that training. I wanted that exposure. I wanted to meet more mentors who can pave the road for me, who can bring me in on their research study so I can learn more that way. So I applied for it. We applied for a scholarship together, and luckily we both were awarded the scholarship. And that really going to, I guess, doing my master's abroad really opened more opportunities for me because I got to meet the experts in my field, the ones that I would just watch on TED Talks or the ones whose work I would just read through their books. I got to meet them personally. I got to exchange ideas with them. And I also got mentored by the best people in the field. So coming back to the Philippines after that master's degree, I felt more confident that I was more knowledgeable about my subject matter because I've done 2 master's degrees to lead to this stage. I've done several dissertations that were reviewed by experts and were approved by experts. And then I guess the next step for me back then was to teach. So I taught in university. I taught my specific field, health economics. I would teach about impact evaluation, monitoring and evaluation. And I guess back then I realized that the confidence I had while teaching, I got through my master's degrees. And also, I guess technically, you won't be able to teach in major universities now unless you have a
Yes.
master's degree.
That's
That was
right.
another motivation for me. Yeah, but I guess going back to my earlier point, teaching for me was also an education because I was learning with my students. I had to learn the new or the, I guess, innovative theories or innovative ideas in my field to be able to share it with my students. So that means my education extended beyond the classroom. Well, technically, it was still in a classroom because I was teaching, but beyond my formal education. Yeah. So going back to Stephen's point, you have to have your end goal in mind, and my end goal was to specialize in this field and to be able to teach that field eventually. And therefore, the steps I took to reach that stage entailed going through several master's degrees or uh, specializing through school. Yeah. How about you?
Okay, do you have any questions, Kulas? Or
Yeah, I'm curious now. Stephen, you said education is intentional, and that kind of resonated with me. But when we first start school, right, we were kind of forced by our parents, right? So were you really that intentional from the get go in terms of your education?
I think I like that point. No? It depends on the person's personality, and that's why I think there's no one size parang fits all for education. Like many things in life, I am the type that thrives in a system. I am the type that thrives in an organized environment, and I'm sure not everyone is the same. Um, so I did enjoy even my younger years of education. I've been excelling
Mm-hmm.
since I was young. Well, I could remember the time when I was excelling. It was or when I started to excel. You have this I have this mentality. If Kulas could do it, why can't I? Diba? If that's I think I was being the eldest. I think it's also being the eldest in the family. You could either go both ways.
So guys, we are just experiencing a technical difficulty. Yeah, you were cut off. Sorry, technology and everything. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, Stephen, you were saying, if someone can do it, you can do it too, right?
Yeah. So I think I excelled in that environment, and I love the rigidity, the structure of formal education.
Mhm.
So actually, it's very interesting. Now that I am an entrepreneur, there is not much structure. I have to provide structure. So it's very different from formal education. So doing that transition is also quite challenging. That's why maybe a lot of successful entrepreneurs are also those who failed in their education. Maybe they didn't thrive in the formality of education,
Mhm.
but thrived in the creative world of entrepreneurship.
That's an interesting point, right? So, system or structure might have something to do with how people enjoy or not education, right?
Yes. So that's why parang for me education should not stop in the classroom.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's like a cliche that everyone should be a lifelong learner, and that's also what I look. And I think people become interesting when they are lifelong learners.
Just posting that quote from you, lifelong learning. So, yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's my only question for now. So if do you have any further points to your
Well, for me, my passions in life is science and business. Uh, before I went abroad for education, I've always thought like science and business could not work together. It was back in the time in the Philippines where business is business, and then science, you're thought to go to either medicine or to become doctors or a science career professional, or you go into research. It was not the idea even back when I was in a local university, Ateneo. It was not open to me that you could combine science and business. But being a millennial, we want to be. I like yourself at Kulas. I consider myself a millennial. Being a millennial, we try to be interdisciplinary. Uh, we were just talking with a lawyer a while ago, and he was like, being just there's an oversupply of lawyers. Being just a general lawyer is not enough. You want to be interdisciplinary. You want to know this and that. And information is becoming a commodity. So everyone can just Google whatever answer that they need. So to be specialized and to be deeply specialized in something gives you, I think, that edge. So back to my science and business. That's my two passions in life, and I want to promote science entrepreneurship, or doing business with science behind it, as a as an economic contributor to the Philippine economy, as a contributor to the Philippine economy. I believe that if young Filipinos can form a critical mass and push for innovation, then I hope that before I die, the Philippines could be, a part of the map of innovation in the world. And so for me to learn how I can use science and business, I have to go to the place where to a place that's full of innovation, where science spin-offs from universities are created. There's many places in the world like that. So you have you have your Silicon Valley, you have your Boston medical area, and then in the UK there's Oxford, Cambridge, and London. There's a diamond or a triangle there, and it's pretty well known that Cambridge has produced a lot of science startups that has become world renowned, or has contributed to the world economy. So I wanted to learn the ins and outs. I wanted to experience firsthand the ins and outs, and how they were able to do it over there, and if I could take it back here and adapt some of it here, which which things can work or won't work in the Philippines given our ecosystem here. And true enough, I was able to gather that information, and similar to my it opened up a network. When you education, grad school, yes, grad school especially, like what you posted there is indeed network. Network is key. We might not have the best lectures, like what I said. You make the best. You make the best out of I'd say like education is what you make out of it, what you make of it. We might not have the best teachers. There will always be teachers that are so average, diba? But you'll encounter the most brilliant students. You'll encounter the most brilliant professors and classmates from all over the world when you are exposed to that kind of environment, diba? And that's where you get inspiration. And so for me, another point is education should be passed on, should be passed forward. You pay it forward. So, like I teach part time in my alma mater here, trying to show them the world, trying to give them a glimpse of what I've seen elsewhere. And some of them indeed followed my footsteps and went on to do grad school abroad and then saw it for themselves. And hopefully they will bring back what they've gained outside and pass it forward locally.
Yeah, so I guess there's a common theme or a common thread between me and Stephen. When you decide to take on further studies, you really have to know why you're doing it. And you have to be specific about what you want to learn. Because going to grad school, may it be a 1-year course or a 2-year course, entails opportunity cost. That is time away from your work, time away from earning money, potentially, if you will be going abroad, time away from your family. So you have to do a cost-benefit analysis, I guess. Will what I get from grad school, will what I learn from grad school be more beneficial than what I'm leaving behind? And in order to answer that question, you have to be very specific about what you intend to learn in grad school so you can be more informed. And I guess once you know your field very well, it will be easy for you also because I encounter a lot of people who want to do grad school abroad, but they don't know where to go or what to study. And really, if you're after specialization or you're after being the best in your field, then that is not a question that you should be asking. You should already know, it's targeted in your mind, where should I go? And then the how you will get there will follow.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mai. Right, so just like what Stephen said, right, it should be intentional, right? I love the idea of doing a cost-benefit analysis or whenever you are, figuring out whether to take graduate studies or not. Because, yeah, it takes time. It takes away money from you. You have to, pay for it if you don't have scholarship. And, cost-benefit analysis probably is one of, a technique that you can use whenever you're not sure whether to take one or not, right?
Yes. Did we do a CBA? Yeah. But there are other opportunities for you to tap. For instance, scholarships, right? There are a lot of scholarships available being offered by the local embassies at your country, being offered by the schools themselves. And I guess what's key is that if they see that you are someone who's worth investing on, if it's clear to them how you will contribute back to your country or how you will contribute back to the field, then that would be a good, I guess, a deciding factor for them to grant you your scholarship. So yeah, the why is really important. Why would you like to study abroad? And how do you see it contributing to you personally, but also to your community, to your country in the long run?
And I love the idea. I'm in Tagalog hanga sa inyo because uh it never crossed my mind to study masters and give back to the community, right? And you guys are doing it so that you can learn from the expert and bring it back to the Philippines. I'm just curious, why are you thinking like that? I mean, most of us millennials have too many things to worry about, and you are worrying about the Philippines, the community, and everything while you were taking your masters. So what's running through your mind when you, because it always ties up to you giving back to the community. What's with that thought?
Well, for me, I've always carried this thought since college. Uh, Everything you do, when you ask why do you do it, the end of it all is to be happy. Why do you want? Why do you want to migrate to Canada? I think I know the answer. Blah blah blah. And then at the end, it's like because it makes me happy. So I had some soul searching when I was mga 10 years ago when I was in university, and I asked what truly makes me happy. And it's not the money, it's not the material things. One is to be of course health. Another is like relationships. But when I thought of like what legacy I want to leave, I thought I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered by the community or by the nation that has brought me so much. And what better way to be remembered than to give back?
Mm-hmm.
So that's so I think ever since college, that's been my principle. It's it's what ultimately makes me happy, giving back to the community, to just full of gratitude.
So it's like what makes you happy, right? How about you, Mike? You are also tying your education to serving the community. What's with that thought?
I guess it stems from the way I was raised. Both my parents work in government.
Mm-hmm.
My mom recently retired, but they spent a good amount of their years serving the community through public service. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of inequalities that are present in society. And I guess my mom, for instance, she was in the health sector. And from an early age, I would be exposed to barangay or rural health stations, people who would walk hours just to seek health care. And then when they get to the facility, there will probably be no doctor, no nurse. Maybe medicines would be lacking. The supply will not be there. And I guess I couldn't take it that people had to suffer. And I would question at a very young age why the world was so unfair, and if there was something that I could do to help make it more fair or less unfair. So from the very beginning, I knew I wanted to be in development. And I guess out of all the possible specializations I could think of, monitoring and evaluation was the one that I thought I would be able to contribute more to. So making sure that with the work I do now, making sure that the projects are running efficiently, effectively, making sure that the resources that are allocated to serve the public are actually being expended the way that they should be, making sure that results are achieved, not just because it's for the sake of the project, but because lives are at stake and people are relying on the proper implementation of a project. So I guess if you ask bakit ka gumigising sa umaga, or like what's your motivation for waking up in the morning, it's really that I hope in my lifetime I would contribute to making this world a little fairer. But I guess between the both of us, there's really that intent to stay in the Philippines and contribute back to the Philippines, because we owe this country so much, and our family is here, and among other things, the Philippines is also facing a lot of development challenges, and what better way to help than to stay and contribute here. I'm thinking of eventually doing another master's. You asked this earlier if I still have plans of studying. Yeah, so I'm thinking of doing another master's, but this time on public administration, because I realized that my previous graduate studies were very technical. So now I want to specialize on how to manage for development. So that's in the pipeline. We don't know yet when that will happen. But of course, I will be gone for a year, but full intent is to come back and contribute back.
Will you be taking it outside the country?
Yeah, because the cost benefit analysis, right? I would like to take it outside the country. I guess you owe it also to go to the best schools if your intent is to contribute back, to go to the best schools, to learn from the best people, to go expand your network more so that you can contribute more when you come back. So, yeah, I'm still applying for the Stephen Co Foundation Scholarship to fund my graduate studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many scholars does Stephen has now?
Wala pa.
So
I'm
you'll
hoping
be the first one. Okay, that's great. So we have a few viewers here, sending us comments, right? So hi Kel and hi Bro Bernard. So this one's interesting. I'm gonna post it in the screen. That's why experience is still the best teacher. You spend money in education and got a not so best teacher and bad ROI, right? So what do you think about that?
Have you encountered?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, I guess quality of education is quite heterogeneous. So you have hits and misses. When you do your grad school, for instance, you're required to take, say, 15 classes. And out of those 15, you'd have great mentors, great professors, and unfortunately, you would be faced with not so great professors. So, I guess it balances out eventually. And what do you think?
Yeah, I think again, for me, it's education is what you make of it. So I like the Bernard's comment. In that experience is the best teacher. It is the best teacher if you learn lessons from your experience. But I also know of people who keep experiencing the same experiences but not learning from it. So education really is up to the individual. It's not up to your teachers. It's not up to, but how open you are to learning. So I agree. Whatever experience it is, whether it's bad, whether it's a bad teacher, you still learn something from a bad teacher. Yeah, like that's my principle. It's that's why I excelled in. Well, of course, at a certain point in your life, you can choose what to experience and what to take, but back in college or like a liberal arts college or high school, when you can choose your subject, if you have that kind of mindset that I had before, where you learn, you don't it's hard to just say like don't waste the money, don't it's a lot of money. You don't learn from it's not my primary motivation. I think learning for me is second nature. Even from the worst teachers, I learned something, to the point that I still become a teacher's pet. My classmates hated, I guess.
No, but you also don't just learn from your teachers. You also learn from your classmates. When I was studying in London, I think I was one of the youngest in my class. And in my class, there were vice presidents already. There were people who were already teaching at the graduate school level in their own countries. And then we would have a lot of chances to, I guess, to interact with them through group work.
Okay, I think I'm gonna refresh again. The screen froze. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Not yet. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
as I was saying, your interaction with your classmates also contribute to your learning.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? And any people you meet, right? You can either be a student or a teacher, right? So that means you can either teach someone or learn from someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do you have any further points that you want to tackle?
So how much education do you need, Stephen?
That's a good question, Mai.
Well, from the very beginning, when you asked us to speak about this topic, my answer would always be it depends.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it depends on your priorities. It depends on whether you find it more beneficial than costly. It depends on your why. It depends on, yeah, I guess it's important that you know yourself and you know your field. Because if you can get the same learning from work experience, or if you can get the same learning from traveling and meeting people, then you would ask yourself, is it worth investing in an education? But if you do your CBA and you realize that it's really still more beneficial to invest in an education, take time off work, I guess take a pause on earning, among other things, then, and if you're really committed to it, then that just shows that education is really important for you to achieve what you want to achieve. So there.
Okay.
So I'd like to. I think my final thought is like what has been thrown here. Knowing the why. Why do you do the things that you do? Why do you want to do something? And then going to the how. How do I achieve what I want to do? How do I achieve to get to that why? And then the how could be achieved in many forms. So there's the what. Is it through education? Is it through experience? When you go into business, how to go into business? It's not the education that you need, but if your calling is in the academe, if your calling is to discover something cutting edge, and then I think that's the how and the what. You need higher education. You need more education. So like what Mai said, education, just like many things in life, is subjective um, to the person's personality, to the person's goals in life, dreams in life, and I wouldn't, I have absolute respect for people from all walks of life. Uh, Absolutely, education can be as broad as bumping into a street vendor and then learning something profound from that person that you can never learn in school, or or like the first what you learn from your parents. I think these are also primary education, things that cannot be replaced by any formal institutions. Um, but I wouldn't, again, for me, I did thrive in formal education, and it's a personality. And I think it's not for everyone, but so I think continue exploring where you can learn. Never stop learning. Formal education might not be for you, but I think if you get that uh, attitude of not stopping to learn, I think you're set for life.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Okay. So yeah, so on the life coaching side, so we do it like this, right? So our guests, share their piece, and on the life coaching side, I share my piece, right? So let me change the screen. Okay, so it's half now, right? So on the life coaching side, they'll talk about self-worth and confidence through education, right? So society tells us that if we finish our education, we'll be successful. And if you take further studies, you'll either be an expert and or an educator, right? So whether we like it or not, having additional letters in our name gives us confidence. The MBAs, the PhDs, and the more prestigious this institution we get it from, the higher confidence we get. Why? Because the world adores smart people, right? So my 3 points are, and this has been discussed by Stephen and Mai. So my first point is ask yourself, what is education for you? Is it a vehicle for success? Is it to conform with society? Is it to satisfy your parents' requests? Or you just genuinely thirst for knowledge? Without defining what education is for you, you won't know why having more, less, or no education at all is important. Then ask yourself, why is education important? So is it because you value your parents and you feel that your diploma is the best payment for all their hard work? Is it because you value the additional letters and the prestige, promotion, fame that comes along with it? Or is it because you want to impart knowledge and you feel that you can impart or give something back that you don't have, right? So most of us study for at least 12 years. First 5 to 10 years might be because our parents and society pushing us to do it. And as we mature, we find our why. I probably started taking charge of my education when I was in high school, but due to petty reasons. If I study well, I'll get honors, I'll be famous in school, my parents will be happy, and I can play video games all I want because I am good at school. And that was my motivation. I was graduating in high school and I still don't know what course to take. I'm not sure if you guys know the network game Counter Strike, but it was really famous back then. And I told myself, why not take anything related to computers? So I took computer science and I finished it in 4.5 years. It was supposed to be 4 years, right? So my undergrad was not a good story to tell my children, but my master's was. I was taking 12 units back then so I can finish the course in 2 years while working in moving companies, of course. So the course is supposedly 3 to 4 years for part-time. You know that, Stephen, right? So and why is it important for me to finish it in 2 years? It was because I want to prove to myself and, of course, to other people. I know that's not a good motivation. That I am smart, I am responsible, and I can do whatever I want to do if I'm laser focused. And I can say that I was successful, and that's a good story for my children. Right. So know your why. If you don't know what your why is, whether you achieve what you were aiming for or not, it will feel empty. Lastly, what am I gonna do about it if I know my why and I know what education is for me? If you know what education is and why is it important for you, then you'll know how to proceed, whether to take vocational courses, not finish anything and go straight to work, learn from experience, finish your MBA or be a doctor. It's up to you. I mean, education is almost free until college. So there's really no excuse not to finish it unless deep in your heart, you feel it's not important. But if you are in doubt whether to finish your study or take further studies, just do it. Nothing's really lost if you are feeding your mind with knowledge. And that concludes my three point for this webinar. So I have a few more questions for you guys if it's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So it might not be about how much education do you really need, but what rituals do you have when preparing for an exam? Because Stephen was my classmate in the masters, right? And he always, he's always the high score in the exam. So what are your rituals?
I'm gonna go first.
Well, yeah.
I have rituals.
I'm not sure if I'm your average student.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, maybe I'm not. I don't cram. I never cram. Yeah, it's just me. I don't. There's no technique. There's no technique to it. Like Kulas said, it's all hard work. It's all hard work. I never cram. I'm actually proud to say that I never pulled an all-nighter in college. Actually, all years. No all-nighter. I slept on time. I wake up on time. I have a strict routine. For me, yeah. So like how rigid formal education is. My life is also full of routine. if I could, so I'm wearing my uniform now. This is my uniform, and I wear it like almost every day. And the same with education. It's really one step at a time. For me, it's always one step at a time. It's useless to burn out at the last moment and then just lose it all. So for me, it's really one step at a time, one baby step at a time. Break it into chunks. Break it into chunks. That's my technique.
I am the total opposite. I would pull all-nighters almost every time. Why I did that, I don't know why. But I think I find inspiration if the deadline is looming. But I still manage to do it. It's just that I pull all-nighters and it's not the healthiest thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what our sharing is trying to prove is that there's no magic bullet. Whatever works for you, right?
Yeah. Okay. Now we talk about, structure, formal structure and the system, right? But right now, homeschooling is becoming a mainstream, right? So what do you think of homeschooling?
There are pros and cons. The pro is that you can fully customize what you will learn. So as a parent who would provide homeschooling options to the children, you can put, if you know that the child is stronger in reading than she or he is on math, you can try to focus on the strength, but not totally forget the math part, but identify where the child is strong at and then focus on that. That has pros because it catches your child's attention, making the child more eager to learn. So the customization part I like. I guess the con there is the interaction part, because you won't have the opportunity to learn from your fellow classmates. Also, I guess to build EQ, it's important to be able to interact with all types of people, different kinds of people, and you also build experiences and knowledge that way. So if you can, I guess, counter it with play dates or supplement it, with play dates or other forms of interaction through sports, then I guess it shouldn't be an issue. But there are pros and cons to homeschooling. Should we send our kids to homeschool? I guess that is the question of Kulas.
Should we do homeschool? Yeah, I don't know. I have no opinion. I have no opinion. So the amount of commitment it takes to homeschool your kid is phenomenal. I don't know if I could take that myself, but I really hats off to parents who homeschool their kids and have the commitment to prepare for the lessons every day. You could be the best teacher if the commitment is there, I think. But on the other hand, I'm pretty lazy to prepare for a lesson. That's why I taught college, because I don't have to prepare a lesson plan.
It's not true. You still have to prepare a lesson.
If you, diba, parang here back in Manila, Philippines, if you teach primary school or like secondary school, you need like solid lesson plans to follow, from greeting the kids to dismissing them. It's all written down, and I'm not cut for that. I'm the kind of learn along the way. Experience is the best teacher. Yeah, okay.
But there's also homeschooling applied to grad school, right? There are a lot of open universities now offer.
Oh, is that homeschooling?
Would you call that homeschooling as well, or?
I don't think so, because you study from home, but there are interactions when you need to go to class as well, right? There will be some months wherein I think at least once a month you need to meet with your peers and your classmates, right?
I think for that they also have interactive boards where you do discussions online.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that works for people who are busy, because especially in the Philippines, like. For us, I don't know how we did it. We were working in Makati, and then we would take 6 to 9 p.m. classes. I'm sure it was the same for you, Kulas.
Yeah.
6 to 9 p.m. classes in UP, Diliman. So the commute was really, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, if you're not focus, like what you said, it's easy to give up. And there are options now for people who want to take further studies at the comfort of their own home, or it's less, I guess, less of a hassle than having to physically report to school.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess it's just a matter of you really deciding whether you want to take further studies or not, right? So my last question will be, do you think it helps if you consider yourself smart when taking further studies?
Hard question.
I guess a certain level of confidence is needed, especially during the application phase, because you have to be able to sell yourself to the school. So you can highlight your grades in school, or you can highlight your achievements at work. And then that would be their deciding factor to take you in, I guess, the course. But yeah, a certain level of confidence. Because like what you said, there are 3 kinds of smarts, right?
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to have 1 and 2. You can either be 1 or 2. You can be smart because of hard work. And yeah, I think I'm actually more that kind than the third one.
Mm-hmm.
It really it helps to have that certain level of confidence. What do you think?
I'm okay.
Because you're very smart.
Yeah, Stephen is really smart.
He's so smart.
I remember when we were in grad school, he was saying, I haven't finished this paper. Oh, I haven't studied. And when the exam comes and the results are there, he'll be topping the exam.
He said he doesn't study. He never doesn't study for anything. Humble.
I don't want to alert the class or like.
Okay. And all this while, I thought Stephen was he's not studying, but he's just really smart, and whatever the professors gives to us, he'll know immediately and just apply it and just get a good grade, right? So, and here the revelation was that you always study.
Yeah.
But the interesting is, I think this is the more you educate. I think this should be the more educated you are, the more humble you get. The more you realize you don't know a lot, and I think a really educated person is also humble in that sense. There's so much out there in the world that there is no one has bragging rights to knowing everything.
Except Google.
Oh, yeah. But unless you feed Google with information, Google will not know, right? So
unless Google is an AI.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we don't know. Probably there is one, right? So yeah,
a level of balance is needed. No?
I think so. Yeah.
Humility and confidence. You have to strike the balance.
Actually, that's very interesting because now there is a tension. When I apply to something, there's already a tension. Am I an expert in this field, or am I not an expert in this field? Just because I don't know a lot, knowing that I don't know a lot, I need to work in teams to fill in the gaps. That's when you realize, and then there's a tension there between believing that you know it and not being sure about it. I can't express it, but there's a TED talk about it. Like why is it dangerous to be to be uneducated?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because you have this false sense that you already know something. And I think it's very scary. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So we're at the top of the hour, and I would like to thank everyone who stayed with us all throughout the call. I will be posting the replay in this group in my website, and if you do have more questions, comment in the post that I will be that we will be posting, or send it to me through private message, or email me at mnangeles@moveforwardandop.com, and I'll be sure to relay your questions and get your answers from these lovely people. So Stephen and Mai, thank you very much for joining me in this webinar. I've learned a lot. There were revelations along the way, and Is there anything you want to promote and any final thoughts?
I'll go first. I just really wanted to thank you, Colas, for giving us this opportunity to contribute to the discussion. And it's really great to see you again and to see your family all very happy in your photos on Facebook. We're really proud of you, and we hope to see you in a year and a half's time.
Yes.
You come home.
I'll be sure to see you guys.
Yeah, I'm very honored to be part of Colas's life, and very honored to be part of his show, to be part of his program. So Nipa Brew is a local craft beer. We are based. That's the logo. We are like us on Facebook. We like us on Facebook. We are based in Makati. Our tap room is based in Makati, but you can find us all over the Philippines. You can check out our website and our social media, nipabrew.com. And if you have any questions for me, you could also follow me on Instagram or Twitter, Stephen Co. Thank you.
Please buy our beer so I can go to grad school.
Please, guys. You're lucky you're in the Philippines, and if you're near Makati, you're luckier, right? I'm here in Canada. Stephen can send me those beer, but I'll definitely be tasting those beers when I come home. So, but I would like to plug that, as always, I'm conducting a free life coaching sessions, especially to millennials. In these sessions, we will talk about what life coaching is, how it can help you, and I will let you experience it firsthand. And we will talk about a coachable issue that you have. If you're interested, visit my website. Again, it's moveforwardandop.com. Lastly, whether we like it or not, having education has benefits. It makes us competitive and sellable to employers, and it can make us confident. I'm not saying it's the only way to be successful, but it is one proven way. So Pilipinas, have a good night. Canada, have a good rest of the day, and see you in the next episode of the How Much Do You Really Need series. Next month, we will be talking about how much faith do we really need. Okay, wow. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, good night.
Thank you. There you go.